them? Is that a problem? Is that such a priority at the moment when there are other bills that should be sponsored by the House of Reps? There are so many other important, dire topics that should be torchlighted by the House of Reps, and what we're seeing is surface things, and you begin to wonder: is it just makeup that we focus on, the outward look? We don't focus on what is inside. We don't focus on the actual policies that will drive growth, stability of our economy. We just want to focus on makeup things. We just want to focus on the outward things, which is some of the concerns that a lot of Nigerians are have been talking about. I'm just going to play something so you can hear. We're just going to play something so you can hear some of the reactions to this particular story about passing for third reading a bill to revert to Nigeria we hail thee. I'm just beginning to wonder, is this so important? Well, that's what they want to be the new national anthem. And you begin to wonder, how does this solve the problem of hunger in the country? How does this solve the problem of banditry in the country? I understand that some of the words there invoke a sense of oneness or whatever, but the national anthem, the current national anthem that we have at the moment, still invokes that sense of unity and oneness and one Nigeria and all of that. So is this what is the topmost priority? Is this what we're paying at this point, top dollars for the House of Reps to sit down and deliberate upon? Is this what we're paying them to do? Is this what they pay taxpayers' monies? They spend taxpayers' monies for? Anyway, there was jubilations in Kano State on Thursday. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf announced the reappointment of Alhaji Muhammadu Sanusi as the new Emir of Kano. He made the announcement after signing the new Emirate Council law at the Government House in Kano State. But in a surprising turn of events, the Federal High Court in Kano issued an order stopping the Kano State government from enforcing the Kano State Emirate Council repeal law. The Justice Muhammad Liman granted the order in an application by the Serkin Dawaki Baba of Kano Emirate, Aminu Baba Dan Agundi. Looking at this particular situation, I would love to get Mr. Rufai's sense of this particular drama, because we know that in Kano State, we know that there's been, apart from Sanusi, there's been other deposed emirs in Kano history. I mean, Kano is a city that has been steeped in history and tradition, and it's witnessed a turbulent past marked with frequent depositions and removals of traditional rulers here and there. So the dissolution of the affected emirates was a sequel to deliberations on the floor of the House during plenary on Thursday. Over centuries, numerous emirs have faced similar fates, some ruling for mere days before being ousted. The second Sarki reported to have been deposed was Dakauta Dan Abdullahi Baja in 1452. He was said to have ruled Kano for just one day. Depositions include Sarkin Atuma Dan Kauta, who ruled for a mere 7 days. There's also been Sarki Yakubu Dan Kisoke, who was dethroned in 1565 after a reign of just 4 months and 29 days. There's been others just like that. There was a pious Sarki Abubakar Kado Dan Rumfa, who ruled in 1565 to 1573 and was removed after 8.5 years serving as the emir. After 250-year respite from depositions here and there, the British colonial authorities deposed Serkin Kano Alu in 1903, exiling him to Yola and later Lokoja, where he died in the 1920s. So there's been a lot of depositions here and there. Subsequently, the acting Sarki Waziri Ala Bar Sarki was removed in the 1909 by the British resident officer in Kano, Mr. Temple. More recently, Sarkin Kano Sanusi was deposed in 1963 after being indicted for financial misappropriations by the Moffat Committee of Inquiry, while we had Sarkin Kano Muhammadu Sanusi II was deposed by the governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje on March 9th, 2020, and taken to Loko in Nasarawa State. So we're going to get into details in a moment with Mr. Rufai Oseni at 6:30. Meanwhile, there's a video that surfaced of a Nigerian. The Nigerian police have requested the public to help in identifying a police officer caught in a viral video strangling a driver. It was shared by a lady on Snapchat with the caption accompanying it. She had the most traumatic experience today, literally had to jump off the vehicle. The policeman was strangling her Uber driver while he was driving on full speed. Really, really interesting. You want to join our YouTube live to watch this particular video on Voice of the People Abuja. Voice of the People Abuja. Okay, let's take a listen.
Just leave him alone, please. Just leave him, please. Please just leave him. Please just leave him. Please just leave him. Please just leave him. Just leave him. Please leave me alone. Okay, please. Please now. Jesus, thank God. We're going to crash. God, oh God! Help me!
You know, yesterday, Mr. Larry talked about abuse of power by uniformed men, and he talked about the fact that when we see uniformed men accost the civilians, right? When we see situations like this, we do not go to the Nigerian Police Force headquarters and we block the place. We do not block activities from happening. We do not lock the place up. Now, see this particular situation. This was in Lagos State yesterday. This lady posted it on Snapchat where the policeman was seen. He was sitting in the front of the vehicle with the driver, and he was holding and pulling the driver while the driver was speeding on the highway. You now begin to wonder, what exactly is the state of our policemen when they get to interact with Nigerians? What is the state of these individuals? I mean, once you are interacting with any policeman, the first thing you need to do is get their names. Get the tag. You must get their names, because anything can happen at that point, and you need to remember who exactly you're dealing with. It's really important, because the Nigerian police force needs to take this into serious consideration, because if anything had happened, we would have been saying a different story right now. She literally had to jump off the vehicle. She had to jump out of the vehicle just so that she could have her life intact. The police whose job it is to protect lives and properties is the one causing all of this. Is the bad eggs in the Nigerian police force that gives Nigerian police force a bad name. Anyway, moving on to another story this morning. There was right here. A man charges information minister to project Tinubu's achievement as he blames obedience for intimidating and misleading Nigerians online. On the 12-month review, the Nigeria's ministerial sectoral updates, the Minister of Information was giving his own review of what exactly has been transpiring in the past 9 months of being in office, and there were a lot of reactions as the minister was speaking yesterday. Let's take a listen.
This administration has been underreported. I am urging the Ministry of Information, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and all other parastatals, agencies of government who are saddled with the responsibility of telling Nigerians what the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration has achieved, to increase their tempo. Those of them in the street are being intimidated by the propaganda from the obedient platform, from the Atiku and PDP platform. I'm telling you the truth.
Thank you, please.
So we need to increase the tempo on what the Asiwaju administration has achieved. This administration has been underreported. I am urging the Ministry of Information, the Secretary.
All right. Still on the ministerial sectoral updates, Wike was in the news as well. He commissioned the Abuja Light Rail, and he talked about the fact that it will offer free rides for 2 months when it's commissioned on Monday. Let's take a listen.
Airport. From here, we are not commissioning beauty. What we are trying to do, we want to start commercial operation. So if you are going to the airport, from here to airport, 20 minutes. It takes you down to the airport. Seeing is believing, is it not? That is practicable. Just go on Tuesday. Monday will be tough for you. You know, I will not tell you lies. So don't come on Monday. And we are going to allow for free ride for 2 months. 2 months. And you know, Mr. President, you can even say extend it to 6 months, just to reduce the pains of our people. That is the real hope agenda. When you say something, you do it.
Why not extend it to the remaining 3 years of this administration? Let's know that you are really, really seeing the plight and feeling the plight of Nigerians. Anyway, this particular headline here is talking about the Kano governor, Abba Yusuf, where he has centered the bill passed by the State Assembly into law, which reversed the Ganduje administration's creation of the new Emirates. Governor Yusuf was going to address the press shortly after that particular situation. That was where he announced that the reinstatement of Lamido Sanusi. Let's take a look.
Don't worry, let me zoom from here.
He's seen signing this particular bill into law. Moving on from this particular story, we're seeing another one here where the minister launches Nigerian National Information Portal. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said that they'll use this opportunity to launch the Nigerian National Information Portal, and it was in existence before, but it has been so badly managed that the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation has resuscitated this new portal. Let's take a listen.
Of your screen, we use this opportunity to launch the Nigerian National Information Portal. Of course, it was in existence before, but it has been so badly managed. So the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation has resuscitated this new portal. It is the gateway to all the information that you require to know about this government, about Nigeria, about its people, and about our culture. So let me use this opportunity to please come down here to just launch this national communication portal for the records. This will be the gateway of all the things that you want to know, whether you are in Nigeria or overseas, about the government and people of Nigeria. So join me in clapping for Nigeria for having this relaunched new national information portal. Thank you very much for joining me in doing that.
Well, it is one thing to launch, it is another thing to maintain, because it was there before, like you said, but it has been mismanaged. Are you going to continue in managing it properly? Well, Lookman is in the news as well because he scored a historic hat trick, which helped Atalanta win the Europa League, and he had a very very touching reunion with his mom where he was celebrating that particular moment after the Europa glory. Let's listen. You know, whenever Nigerians do well, we celebrate. We have to celebrate them wherever they do well. So Ademola Lookman scored a hat trick to help Atalanta win the Europa League against German champions Bayer Leverkusen, 3-0 in the final, and they became the first Italian team to win the Europa League due to the hat trick scored by Nigeria's Ademola Lookman. He's etched his name into European football history on Wednesday night in that particular win. I mean, phenomenal performance right there. Anyway, we'll take a break and then reach out to Rufai. Let's have a conversation in just a moment. Stay tuned. You're welcome back. This is still the front page review right here on VOP 96.1 FM. My name is Gesire Agua. We're looking at different headlines this morning. We're trying as much as we can to reach out to Mr. Oseni so he can help us do some justice to our headlines this morning. Lagos Calabar Highway, on that particular situation, we have 750 houses for demolition as property owners are complaining about poor compensation. All right. Good morning, Mr. Rufai. Welcome.
Morning. That's the story we should start on. I think they should pay them the right compensation. It is terrible enough that they have taken all of their livelihoods away. It's only best you pay them the right compensation. Over a road that a lot of people have even argued that where's the environmental impact assessment? For this new thing, where's the environmental impact assessment? So does it meet the standard environmental test? So why are you doing this to these people? And I think government will watch it. I just hope this does not be one of the albatross of this administration, which is a sad reality anyway.
Mr. If I look at the number of properties that are going to be lost, are we not supposed to juxtapose vis-a-vis the importance of this particular highway? How many people on a daily basis will be plying this highway? How many people? How many businesses are going to benefit from this particular highway? Is also susceptible being washed off by the river. by the sea. So you just begin to wonder, where exactly is the priority of this administration?
Anyway, you know where their priority is with the coastal road. They have not listened to environmental impact assessment requests. They don't listen to anything. It's just about them. So that's a sad reality for Nigeria. Elections matter.
Still talking about misplaced priorities, we're seeing a bill that passed for third reading to change in the House of Reps, to change the national anthem to the Nigeria We Hail Thee one. I don't know what your take on this is, but Nigerians have been asking: is that going to put food on the table of Nigerians? Is that going to help with the hunger? Is it going to help with the banditry?
Yes, you can.
Hello.
You can guess my take on it. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
You can guess my take on this issue. It's another misplaced priority. See, guess it, that colonial anthem, that anthem was even very colonial. Where they used to call our own dear native land, it was a very derogatory colonial slur when the British used to call us the natives, the primitives. So when you look at all of these things, it just shows that we lack priority. The things we ought to major in, we minor in them, like you asked. Is that going to solve the banditry problem? Is that going to solve the economic woes? Is that going to solve the falling naira? Is that going to create jobs? I mean, what is that going to do? What is the priority behind a new national anthem that cannot avail anything, that is just constantly about a reminder of our colonial past? And after we had a beautiful rallying anthem in the 70s. So what is the mindset? You now want to go back to an old colonial, even if you want to change the anthem, why don't you say, okay, we should have a competition like we had in the 70s when Nigerians can write their own new national anthem, and you pick the best. So why did you now have to go back to the old colonial anthem? So it shows these guys are not busy. And that's why I say elections matter. Honestly. Our political class has let down Nigeria. And it's true.
It's really upsetting to see this, Mr. Rufai. We were dealing with so many issues every day, yet these people who are already being overpaid, overcompensated for the work that they're not even doing well for Nigerians, they're not really representing Nigerians. You're sitting down and talking about a national anthem. What's wrong with the one that we have now? Has it even done the job it's supposed to do? Instill a state of oneness or a feeling of oneness in Nigerians that you want to now change to another one? It doesn't even make any sense at this point.
And this our new national anthem is a lovely one. In fact, you know, the second stanza is a prayer that says, and let's pray that prayer for our lawmakers today that want to change it. Oh God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know. So we pray that God of creation should guide our leaders right, because they are not being guided right now. Eh?
All right.
Yes, sir.
Let's move on to Kano State. We saw the governor reinstating Sanusi after 4 years of deposition as the assembly sacks the remaining 5 emirs. Well, I don't know what your take on this is, first of all, before we even go into the Emirates, the Kano Emirate.
There's a political angle to it. We all know the political antecedents. Let's not deceive ourselves. And the leader booted off Sanusi. Sanusi is back. The state government made the laws. Now they're back to the laws. And there's been a lot of back and forth about it. I knew it was going to happen at some point. Because the political impasse was still on ground. So with this, the camp of candidate will definitely be in doldrums now. And the type of caucus and Sanusi will be happy. Will be happy. And it got that way. But it's always happened in Khan. If you remember the Abakarimi case in the 80s, it was also the case, where the person sacked the traditional leader, and at the same time, you now have a case where it's orientated. But what I just don't like is the fact that our political institutions now have now been put in the middle of all their political our traditional institutions. I don't think it's nice for our traditional institutions to be dragged along in the middle of all of this political back and forth. So that's just the sad reality.
All right. What that would do for the people of Kano State is what is left to be seen at this point. Looking at the fact that what is at the fore is hunger, poverty, and frustration at this point. But we'll leave that for another day, because a court in Kano has also come out to say that they've issued an order stopping that particular stopping the Kano State government from enforcing the Kano State Emirate Council repeal law, and it was granted by the Justice Mohammed Liman. So we'll watch and see how that will play out. Mr. Rufai, earlier I played a video of a lady posted on her Snapchat how she was in a taxi with she was in a taxi hailing vehicle, and this particular driver was being strangled by the Nigerian a Nigerian policeman. He was being strangled while he was driving on the highway. Speeding, in fact, the Nigerian policeman was strangling this particular driver, and she was screaming at the back, please leave him, and she was screaming. So I brought that up because we're seeing Banek still being locked up because 2 soldiers were accosted by Nigerians in Banek's Plaza. Now, this particular situation, where are we going to lock up? Are we going to lock up Lois Edet's house, the Nigerian police headquarters here in Abuja, because we are seeing this particular situation? Isn't it enough to even drag the Nigerian police force at this point?
Concerning the Banek's Plaza thing, the story is even different. Apparently, from an audio someone sent to me, it was just a normal customer that went to buy a fairly used phone, and after 3 months after the phone was swelling, so the person called the military guys to come and cost the phone seller. Then the matter went haywire and there was an altercation. It was not that it was the military guy that bought the phone, according to the statement someone said. But I mean, it just shows high-handedness of people in uniform. They are the ones that will enter commercial buses and they will not want to pay. They will claim staff. They are the ones that will do all sorts of shenanigans and want to get away with it. So, I mean, it just shows the high-handedness. And how can we nip this in the bud? Is by ensuring that the police does the right thing. At least, I think this story has gone viral. We've totally put the story out there. The police will not say they've not seen that story because it's everywhere. And let's see what will be done as regards it. We are waiting on the police. We are waiting if they're going to investigate and bring that officer to book. That's just it.
All right. The federal government on Thursday said that the country was poised to begin local production of military equipment with the recent signing of the Defense Industries Cooperation of Nigeria bill by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The Minister of Defense said that following the signing of the bill, the federal government had begun talks with local firms for local production of firearms in the country. I mean, this is about time. It's about time that we started our own local production, because when you see the number of individuals who produce locally firearms, we should have engaged these guys long before now.
That's long overdue. But in all fairness, we produce some local arms in the country. I mean, that was done some local arms production. So, because that is totally new. Just that we're going to increase the production of local arms. But most importantly, let's get out this pound out and let's see how we can have an ecosystem for local arms production and feed into our economy. Because most of the major arms are still in production. And when you check other countries of the world, this is what they use to make money. So, there's so many things we can do. I think Addis Ababa at some point said we'll start producing clothes in Nigeria. I don't know how that planned out. So let's see how we can produce that and help the economy.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rufai, for your time this morning. That's about it that we have. All right. Have a lovely weekend, Mr. Rufai. We'll talk on Monday.
Yeah, bye.
All right, to you listening, this has been the Front Page Review. You want to stick around for the conversation with Mr. Larry. We're going to pay some bills right now, but know that we are. You can send us WhatsApp messages on 0700 010 961 961 0700 010 961 961. We're also live on YouTube. You can drop a comment or two. 0700 010 961 961. On YouTube, our page is Voice of the People Abuja. Voice of the People Abuja. I'll go and pay some bills. When I come back, we'll be speaking with Mr. Larry Ogoego. Make sure you stick around for that. You're welcome back. This is still the front page review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. My name is Gesire, and we're asking an important question this morning. Should Nigeria return to the old national anthem? Share your thoughts with us. This is, you can reach us on YouTube live at Voice of the People Abuja. You can also reach out to us on WhatsApp 0700 010 961. 961. All right, we've got Mr. Larry on the phone this morning. Good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, Jason. So, how is Abuja today?
Abuja is very, very cool. It rained yesterday, so we're very chilled. All right.
Nice.
Mr. Larry, the first question I'll ask is, should Nigeria return to the old national anthem? Is it relevant at this point? Is it a case of misplaced priorities, or is it important that we go back to the old one?
I wonder why we waste our time on things that are not important. I think our National Assembly members, the legislators, really don't have work to do. And that's the truth. They don't have work to do, or maybe they don't understand precisely why they were elected. We had a national anthem, and at some point we felt that we need something better. And we actually got something better. And at this time that we should be grappling with security issues, with the economic woes of the nation, someone is talking about going back to the old national anthem. I mean, if he's concerned about issues of orientation, he should be talking about going to revive the National Orientation Agency. He should be talking about more important things, not the national anthem. Not that it's not important, but then we have a national anthem that, as far as I'm concerned, we don't listen to. And I must say something that we should consider. If we want to tamper with the national anthem, what we should do is to move the second stanza to the first, and then use the first as the second. Why? Because the second stanza speaks to Nigeria now, and it's a prayer for the nation. But it speaks to Nigeria. And I suspect our political elites do not want to hear that circumstance. And maybe that's one of the reasons they want to go back to the old one. O God of creation, direct our noble course. And then our leaders have decided to do what they like. In fact, they decided to go away from national anthem altogether. But the anthem is saying we need leaders that will be properly programmed to do what is right. So the second anthem is not only a prayer for a nation, but it's something that we should all take to heart. In fact, if we say that prayer consistently, it will affect our disposition to our country. Unfortunately, rather than look at what is important, that is the fact that that we should find a way to even promote this anthem so that Nigerians will embrace it, understand it, let it affect them. What we are doing is that we are discussing going back to talking about tribe and tongue. Why should we be going back to tribe and tongue matters? So I think they don't understand their priorities, and we need to actually remind them that they have more important jobs than going back to do. And when they go back, it means that the world will start wondering, are these guys okay? That is, every day they will be changing national anthem. It really doesn't make sense. But I think we should also consider seriously promoting the second stanza. Not that the first is not important, but when you look at this anthem, O God of creation, direct our noble course, guide our leaders right. They need plenty of guidance now. Help our youth the truth to know, so that they won't believe everything they see on social media. In love and honesty to grow, and living just and true, great lofty heights attain. To build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. And that's what we need most now. Where peace and justice shall. And somebody wants to discuss this and start talking about type and tongue and all of that. Something is not right with these our politicians. We shouldn't tamper with national anthem, except maybe to place more emphasis on the second stanza and then make sure that politicians sing it like 7 times a day. They go to National Assembly, they sing it in the morning, sing again until it enters their coconut.
All right. All right, let's move on to another headline this morning. In Kano State, the governor had reinstated Lamido Sanusi after 4 years deposition as assembly sacks the different 5 emirs. I mean, we saw what played out during the past governor's administration, where these particular the Kano State House of Assembly on Thursday, repealed the law establishing additional emirates. The Assembly dissolved all the 4 newly created emirate councils in the state, and they are reinstating one. That is the emir that we know as Lamido Sanusi. I don't know what exactly your thoughts is on this particular story, but let's hear it.
The sad part is that they have damaged the sanctity of traditional stools. Because when Lamido Sanusi was dragged into the politics of Kano to the extent that the former governor, really, in fact, I'll be honest with you, I was sad the way he was treated, but the whole thing was so rapid, and then it was obviously political. The idea is, these emirs are powerful, weaken their power, so just balkanize the emirate so that you have more men, more puppets to control, so to say, so that the emir won't be a pain in your back. And what they have done is when they bastardize and weaken the powers of the traditional rulers, they miss an opportunity to galvanize these men to help them provide quality leadership. One of the most interesting aspects of leadership is leading leaders. A great leader should be able to lead leaders. A weak leader actually becomes a rival with the leaders under his own command, who should be under his influence. And that is what is playing out, or rather what played out in Kano, where because Ganduje couldn't lead a person who was obviously a more influential and better leader than him, he resorted to damaging the stool, as it were, so that he whistled the powers of the emirate. And what is happening is that this governor thinks he should take it back to status quo. Of course, people are already benefiting from the old action that the former governor took, and they will naturally resist it. And these things are political. But what I don't like is the fact that it's now about purely politics. And at the rate they are going, they respect that we've always given to the seat of the Emir of Kano is being dragged in the mud, because it's now more or less a matter of what the governors think. I think it's important to get to that point where the governors should be restrained from playing games with traditional stools. And how do we do that? We need to give traditional rulers, not charlatans in different the traditional ruler, but a proper traditional stools should be not only recognized but given rules that are constitutional. Before, we used to have a house of chiefs, but we need to get to that point where we sanitize that space and then give them rules, because they are very close to the people and the people respect them for several reasons. Sometimes traditional reasons, sometimes religious reasons. And if we can harness that respect properly, we can use them as a rallying point for the unity of the nation, for fighting insecurity, for even promoting economic and other programs. Unfortunately, politicians politicize everything. Every single thing that comes into their purview, they convert it to party politics. So if this man is not supporting me, I'll depose him. Then I'll bring another person. Then I come back, I depose and bring. I think it's about time that we learn to respect traditional institutions. The challenge now is, we know how Sanusi was removed. It wasn't appropriate. A lot of people didn't like it. Now, this present governor is trying to undo everything that the other governor did. Let's watch how it unfolds. I am just thinking that the people of Kanu should find a way to protect that very, very important institution from too much political interference. If the governor is able to restore the prestige of the old Kanu Emirate, then they should create a legal system that will protect the emir from being deposed by any governor that doesn't like the look of his face. That is very important.
All right, let's move on from the politics of Kano State. It's just I do not know why we keep playing politics with everything, right? There's some things that shouldn't be. We shouldn't dapple politics into it, but we don't seem to be getting the memo. In a surprising turn of events, a court in Kano State stopped the reinstatement of Sanusi. He issued an order stopping the Kano State government from enforcing the Kano State Emirate Council repeal law. Just how this is going to play out in Kano State and the politics of it is what is left to be seen at this point. But another story here is talking about the House of Representatives urging the federal government and the Nigerian army to reopen the Banex Plaza for business activities. They also urged authorities to use modern technology and surveillance and closed circuit television to identify and apprehend the perpetrators of the attack on army personnel in the plaza over the course of the weekend. Well, the question now is, why is it that we do not let logic lead first before we have immediately something happens, you're just reacting to it? Because this could have been prevented. Locking up Banex could have been prevented if they had just used the CCTV and surveillance to check, okay, who are the perpetrators, who are the people, instead of punishing an entire thousands of people who have businesses in that place, making them waste money on a daily basis. If you know Banex, you know that the place is worth. They make a lot of money on a daily basis.
Yes, it's not just about the money. It's about people's livelihoods. It's about increasing idleness and crime. They told us when we were very small, and they're still saying it, that the idle hand is the devil's workshop. There are sales girls who work in that plaza. There are sales boys who work in that plaza. If they don't go to work for 1 week, so what will they be doing? Watching movies in their boyfriends' houses? Do you know what can happen when you demobilize hundreds of sales girls and sales boys who don't have anything to do but just get up to mischief? There are so many social implications of all these human rights abuses, where you just wake up because some people had a misunderstanding. You lock a whole market and then you go to bed. I don't think National Assembly should even be talking about it the way they're talking about it, perpetrators and all of that. No, that is not the proper language. They should be talking about a proper investigation being conducted to find out what happened, because you don't even know the details. What did the soldiers do? How did it escalate? What really happened? I've been a victim of soldiers coming to evict me from my apartment many years ago, and I resisted them, and they didn't succeed. So we shouldn't be putting them on a pedestal. I've said it. We appreciate the fact that, yes, they are soldiers. Yes, they have dedicated their lives to defending us. But for crying out loud, they are paid salaries for that. They are given a lot of respect. Yes, and sometimes they abuse the respect. And when they abuse us, there could be consequences. I don't support people paying evil for evil or reacting irresponsibly when somebody is irresponsible. But I've seen soldiers beat up a medical doctor for no reason. And these are cases that are documented. And when things go bad, people will start saying, oh, they attacked soldiers. Can somebody also tell soldiers to stop attacking civilians? So we shouldn't be saying we'll arrest perpetrators, we'll catch perpetrators. Let's talk about building this bridge between civilians and the uniformed personnel. I've said it before, I'll keep saying it. It's in tatters. The relationship is in tatters. They tell us every day that police is our friend. People don't think they're our friends. We need to settle down and solve these problems. This idea of when we have problems, we pretend that we don't have problems. Oh, they beat soldiers at Banex, so we close Banex, find perpetrators. No, ask yourself the real questions. Why was there an altercation between soldiers and the boys at Banex? What happened? Were the soldiers right? Should they even be at Banex at that time? These are questions we should ask and answer. And then we shouldn't be begging them to open Banex. They should open Banex and continue their investigations. It is inappropriate for you to go and close a market because 2 or 3 persons fought or one person assaulted another. There is a crime called assault. You find the perpetrators, arrest them. Beyond surveillance cameras, people took video shots of those incidents. If they want to find them, they can find them. But they shouldn't just find them and say, oh, these are people who beat up soldiers. What happened? What led to the altercation? These are relevant questions we must ask. I don't like the fact that burying our heads in the sands as if we don't know how soldiers also treat civilians in Nigeria. We should address the big picture if we don't want to see more of this. We will see more of it if we don't address the big picture. The big picture is that somebody should tell soldiers that their job is to protect us, not to harass us. They are too overbearing. The way they use power on civilians very often is uncalled for. Of course, we know the story of what happened to the lady in Lagos who was stripped naked on the highway because she had a small misunderstanding with officers. The stories are all over the place. Many of us have been victims, or our relations have been victims. So on this occasion, because the shoe is on the wrong side of the foot, we are all screaming. No, now we are all Nigerians. The Constitution protects all of us, gives us the same rights. The fact that they chose to be soldiers and we chose to do other things and which they benefit from, of course, they use phones. They buy the phones from Banex. They maintain the phones at Banex. So these things are mutually interconnected. We shouldn't get to that point where we pretend that civilians are useless. If there are no civilians, there won't be need for soldiers. That's the truth. Yes, we need to get to that point where we call a spade a spade. Does it mean I don't like soldiers? No. Does it mean I want them to be assaulted? No. But does it mean they should also treat us anyhow and close our businesses and just put soldiers on a pedestal so we start worshiping them? No, too. What Nigeria is a democracy that is also governed by the rule of law. If you want to know how soldiers should relate to civilians, go and check the constitution of the country and then check the Armed Forces Act. Incidentally, I'm very conversant with both documents. It's an offense for a soldier to strike a Nigerian. Yes, it's an offense, but we pretend we don't know. So when soldiers beat up Nigerians, we take it to National Assembly. I am sad that we don't value our citizens. Yes, we don't. We don't value our citizens. American soldiers don't go around beating up civilians. Soldiers in other civilized parts of the world, they don't go around having altercations with civilians. No, it doesn't happen. So we should ask ourselves, why are these things happening repeatedly? And then we should get down to the foundation. All this pretending that some people are more equal than others. All animals are equal, but some people are more equal than others. All of us are Nigerians, but some Nigerians are more important than others. It's not true. We're all Nigerians. We're all important. If we don't have civilians, there won't be anybody for soldiers to protect. Yes. So let them go and find out what happened at Banex. And whoever did wrong should be punished according to the wrongdoing, whether the person is a soldier or a civilian. That's the meaning of the rule of law. The law should be applied at all times.
Still talking about this abuse of power of uniformed men. Earlier, I played a video of a Nigerian policeman sitting in the front of a taxi, and the video started with him holding the driver's right hand tightly. The driver was on the highway, right, speeding. The passenger was at the back of the vehicle. He held the driver's right hand, and then before we knew it, it escalated into him pulling the man's entire head into an arm lock while the car was on the highway. The lady at the back was screaming, "Help, help, help. Please allow him. At least park the vehicle. Please allow him. Let's park the vehicle," and all of that. And before we knew it, the lady had to jump out of the car so that she would not, get into any accident in that particular situation. We see the policemen, we see uniformed men abuse their power. You're on the traffic, you're at the traffic light, you see a policeman putting on their siren from far distances. Everybody should clear way. We are on at the traffic light, at a traffic stop. You see them, they'll blast their horns until everybody clears the way, and then they move while the traffic is red, right? While the traffic light is red. And then if the oncoming traffic, the people that they're on green, if they are supposed to move, you see them maybe doing waka, telling the driver waka. They will hit their vehicles with koboko and all of that. You see them just, I don't know. I do not know how come we have
impunity. It's called impunity. Impunity means doing something wrong and assuming that nothing will happen. And more often than not, nothing happens. And that increases the impunity. Our uniformed personnel have a very high level of impunity. I will kill you and nothing will happen. The usual language is I will waste you and nothing will happen. We've had it severally. I mean, this is something I've been told myself. And I told the man, I'll waste your career and you see that something will happen. And something did happen to that policeman who told me that. But this is something civilians hear every day. I'll waste you and nothing will happen. And guess what? Sometimes they waste us and nothing happens. And we need to address that impunity. How can you be attacking a man who's on the highway? Who does that? And that takes me to what Federal Road Safety have been doing lately. They use their vehicles to try to stop moving vehicles who don't stop for them at checkpoints. I saw an incident at Asaba where a vehicle was moving at high speed and the road safety vehicle practically jumped into the road. They parked the road at right angles to the vehicles at right angles to the road. That is in such a way that if they stop you further up and you want to pass, they will jump into the road to block the person. And I stopped. It wasn't my beat, but I stopped and I accosted their leader. I said, how can a road safety institution be causing accident? I saw a car ram into their vehicle. And I told the man, you guys are crazy. How can you be posted to improve road safety? And because you want to catch people and get money from them, you are creating manufacturing on safety on our roads, and you are creating accidents for us. What nonsense. The man couldn't say anything. So we have this high level of impunity. Once you put a uniform on a Nigerian, including Boy Scouts uniform, they lose their heads. Anything uniform, whether it's LASMA, MOT, military, anything at all, just put on a uniform, the Nigerian will lose his head. And then every other person will become like an ant before the person. And we need to address it, this idea of demonizing Nigerians. Sometimes when you push a man to the wall, two things will happen. It's either the man goes through the wall or the man fights back. And Nigerians are tired of going through the wall. I've been saying these things, that one day the keg of gunpowder, or rather kegs, will start exploding. We should begin to address these issues seriously. We can't continue living like slaves in our own country. The fact that you are wearing a uniform and we are paying you with our own taxes and our commonwealth doesn't mean that you should lord it over us. Many of us could have been in those institutions. We can't all belong to the police or the military or all of those places. I mean, we need to have a balanced nation, and it doesn't make us any less important. So I think the political class, the lawmakers, all the institutions concerned, National Human Rights Commission, Public Complaints Commission, the National Orientation Agency, all of the institutions that are concerned should rise up to the occasion and begin to talk about this. They shouldn't wait until civilians are killed or soldiers are killed or policemen are maimed, then they will start talking. No, we should engage on a massive national reorientation or to explain to these men that if they don't build bridges with Nigerians, they cannot succeed. There is no way soldiers can overwhelm bandits or insurgents if they do not get the cooperation of civilians. There is no way policemen can win the war against crime if they don't get information from civilians. They necessarily need us to even do their jobs. But as long as they discard us and abuse us and beat us up and flog us at will and call us bloody civilians, let us see how they'll succeed. This is about partnership. You need two hands to have a clean wash. You cannot snap your finger without two fingers. They must learn this. They must learn to respect us. If they don't respect us, they're wasting their time because they are paid to protect us. So you can't be paid to protect me and then you're assaulting me and harassing me while driving, bending my neck while I'm driving, and nothing happens. Then tomorrow, if somebody fights back, you say, oh, you are fighting a police officer. No, it doesn't work that way. We should go back to the rule of law where everybody is supposed to be equal before the law.
All right, let's end the conversation on a light note. On a lighter note, we have the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, talking about the Abuja Light Rail project. It's now ready for commercial operations. He talked about the fact that it's a 10 billion naira project and it's been expended on the rehabilitation of that particular project. And they're offering 2 months of free transportation for people who'd like to use the rail for 2 months. I don't know what your take on this is.
Not a bad idea after all. Let Nigerians enjoy small. They have been flying around the world free of charge. So at least if we can fly around the world free, let us move around in Abuja on our own train free of charge. For a change, let us enjoy something free from this government because the political team gods enjoy everything for free. They enjoy free food, free fuel, free travel on private jets, free dressing, free newspaper, free everything allowance. So if we can get just 2 months of free train ride, not a bad idea. So the Mr. Projects, the action minister. So thank you for the free gift. We're going to move around. But after the 2 months, don't go and collect the money from us through high fares.
Exactly.
So let the be affordable. Not if you give us 2 months, you now collect 10 years back from. No. While you are giving us 2 months, just consider something we can afford. If not, keep the 2 months and then just give us something we can afford from beginning. It's very important. I don't want you to say 2 months, then after, many of us will not continue to enjoy the train again. You know, it's a strategy also, not only to promote it, but to help us from the habits of using the train, which is brilliant. But then, at least, like I said, let's get something for free. But food for thought also, 10 billion, give us that road system. And then we are sponsoring religious pilgrimage with 90 billion. Food for thought for Nigerians.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Larry. It's been a very dramatic week, I must say. We'll start this all over again on Monday. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I think with all we said today, we shouldn't be begging people to listen to the voice of the people, both the radio station and the reasoning, because when we understand certain principles, we will enjoy our lives better. Soldiers, policemen, and the citizens should be partners in progress, not warriors who are always fighting one another. The bandits will be laughing at us. The criminals will be laughing at us because we're supposed to be working together to stop them, and we're fighting ourselves, and that's why they're winning. So today, the one thing we should get away from the voice of with the front voice of the people is the fact that we should work together, not fight one another. Do have a wonderful weekend, Casey.
Thank you so much, and you too. All right. To you listening, thank you so much for listening to the voice of the people right here on VOP 96.1 FM. My name is Gesire. Of course, it's been a most informative conversation that we've had, but let's do this again on Monday, 6 a.m. sharp, 6:30 a.m. sharp, right down to 11 a.m. The morning ride will end at 11 a.m. But for now, I'm just going to leave the studio for the sports bit to continue at 8:30, right down to 9 a.m. It's been a most informative conversation, and I'll be back by 9. Good morning.